I have a ton of books behind me and I want to get rid of all of them. So let's do a quick unhaul. I'm going to grab them and then just talk about it after I show it to you. This is the first book, which is The Whispering Staircase. That's wrong. This is the second book, which is The Whispering Staircase. The first book I also have here, which is The Screaming Staircase. Both of them were just like okay. I have to say the TV show is a lot better, which is weird because usually the TV show isn't better than the books, but the TV show was so much better. Sorry to say, but it was. So yeah, unhauling those two. The Silver Bough, Silver something, the Silver, yeah. I thought it was about mermaids and it wasn't. It was like family line and it's like just to be a thriller and a fantasy, but it really wasn't. It was just boring. Next, we have Sasha Alsberg, Breaking Time, which I didn't know she had another book, and I didn't know this is by the same person who did Zenith, who is a booktuber as well. But like, this was really bad. No offense to her, good job for writing something, but if this took you 3 years, I feel bad for your editor. We have Fruits Basket in this really pretty edition. I read the first, but I didn't read it. I watched the show. I liked it a lot until the part where, this isn't a lot of a spoiler, but it's kind of a spoiler. Homegirl like forgets everything and then I get pissed and bored. So this isn't really my vibe. The art style is cute, but it's also not really my thing. So I was just like, no. It was really boring, and I have to say the show did it better, or the anime was better. Next, let's do these three, keeping it with manga. I have Punch. It's a shoujo beat. It's the first volume of a trilogy. It's about this guy who's engaged to this girl, and she has a family of fighters, and he's a street fighter, and she doesn't like her fiance, but her fiance loves her. It's like weird, and homegirl, I didn't realize how young she was. She's like 15, but it was bore. Like the first one was okay, it was cute, and then it has its moments where I'm like, that's kind of not great for her being like 15 and you're being like old. Anyway, we have volumes 1 and 2 for Honey Hunt. It's about this girl. She's trying to be an actress after her mom and dad get a divorce. Her mom and dad are very famous people, blah 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 blah. It's also a shoujo beat, and you know, it's not that good. It really isn't. It wasn't as fun as I thought it would be. I love everything and anything having to do with acting, which will, there's a few more books in here that were not that good as well. But I have to say, Skip Beat, 10 times better. Top tier right there. That is, oof. I want to eat the rest of them and I want to read them so badly and I haven't yet. Next we have The Afterlife of the Party, which I thought would be fun and cute. And it was fun. For a bit. And then it was boring. I was just like, that was your decision? You did that? You did that. Okay. So it's about becoming a vampire, following this band of people who are vampires and they're really creepy and trying to get their best friend back. Sounds great. It was a time. It just wasn't necessarily a great one. And nothing really stuck. Could I tell you a lot about this book? Not really. I really couldn't. It was kind of mediocre. Like, very mediocre. And I was just like, oh, okay. We've got Jennifer Cruz Bet Me, which it gives me the vibe of, I was a bet? I was a freaking bet? Yeah, same thing. Same thing. Except for some reason there was a lot of like body shaming. Not necessarily to say body shaming, but it was like, it was interesting the way they talked about women in this book and I didn't love it. That's what I'm gonna say with that. I also never finished it because I got bored. Next, this one we have The Reunion by Kayla Olson. Yep. So it was okay. It was cute. It's a story about this girl who grew up acting on a TV show with this guy, and they were romantic interests with each other. They never dated in real life, but she's always had a crush on him. He's always had a crush on her. They just never did anything about it. And then the show gets canceled. Later on, they're gonna have a reunion episode when everyone's like way older. And it was a bore. I have to say the most interesting part, because their relationship was so boring. I'm like, okay, we get it. You all of a sudden love each other all over again. Insta love was there, people. But every other page they have these like random, I don't know if you can really read them, but here it says facts and whatever, and it's like multimedia without really multimedia. This is just random stuff that isn't really mentioned in the book or isn't really needed, in my opinion. I did like when we could see the script, because there was a part where we could actually just read the script, and I was like, oh, that's nice. But the rest of it was kind of a bore. And the main guy's name is Ransom. So, you do you, dude. Next, we have this, which is a school book. I read it for school. It's Euripides 1, which is Alcestis Media. I don't really know how to pronounce that. Children of Heracles, which is actually Heracles, not Hercules, which is wild. But I'm gonna honestly always call him Hercules because Hercules. Anyway, and Hippolytus. It was mythology that I read for school. That's it. It was great. It was fun. I just don't want it. We have Past Promises, Jo Marie Lands. She's a paleontologist and time travels, which, great premise, great everything. I would have loved to read it, and I did try and read it, but I was so bored. Like, I could care less about anybody and anything. I was done. Okay. Next, we have Mary Burton. The Shark. It's a murder mystery, and she is a mother. Yeah, she's a mom, and I don't care about that, so I just don't want to read about it. I don't, like, good for you, you have a child. I don't care. And usually when that happens, it's a book usually just about them and dealing with their kids and all that stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to read about your children or your love life at this point. I just wanted to see you solve a murder, but no. So here we are. Next books we have Meru Puri. It's a manga. The art style is so pretty as well. It's literally gorgeous, but my problem with it is homegirl is like 17, 18, and dude is like 8. Actually, like, legitimately, he's like 8 years old. So, look at this fully grown, cute little woman. She has this magic mirror, and out of a sudden, this little child pops out of the mirror, which is cute. Fun. Yeah, so she ignores him, and then I didn't realize there would be love interest. I didn't realize he was a child. Homegirl, he is a child, because he can become older, so he just appears older, so he appears as her age when he's actually just like 7, and he's still like mentally 7, which is a little gross. More than a little bit gross, but I read all of it. And then when I got to the 4th one, I was like, oh my god, they're the same age now. There's no problem with the age gap because it's not like creepy anymore. It gets weirder because at the very last one, this guy puts a spell on him. It's his brother who put a spell on him in the first place in order for him to be younger. He puts a spell on them for their wedding night so that they get to be he gets to be a child. Yeah, that's a problem. It's a big problem. It's kind of gross. Next, this, which was, you know, a book. It's Lois Greenman, I think, The Princess Masquerade. So this one was okay. It was interesting how I loved the premise of it. It's this guy finds this girl who looks like the princess, goes to her and goes, hey, you gotta pretend to be the princess. So I read this one, most of it at least, and I thought it was interesting until the love interests were like interacting, and I was like, oh, why are you acting like that? There's no reason for you to, oh, okay. And like for homegirl to be stealing stuff and living her best life, it's weird how she acts after, you know? She just like, because he steals her away, has her pretend to be someone else on an island. They're like fake engaged, which is cute until it's not, you know, because she just acted like he had full control over her life and she wasn't fighting for herself at all. And then when she finally disappears and leaves, he finds her again and he goes, "What is wrong with you?" And then they just fight all over again. And I'm like, girl, I don't care. Figure out your issues yourself. We have Undercover Lover by Catherine D. Jones. There's really nothing memorable about this book. I thought it would be cool because it's about two people running off and working together for the FBI and solving murder cases about people who are married. And like these random people are going missing in this tiny town. So they're fake married and scouting out what the heck is going on with this town. But none of that is really happening. Homegirl literally falls into an ocean, a river, and almost dies. And that is a really big plot of the story. And then the next page, it doesn't matter. So I'm like, are we even trying to figure out what's going on in this town? Or are you just staring at each other longingly and literally licking every inch of each other's skin? Like, calm down. I do not care. Stop it. Get some help. Okay, we have Queen Among the Dead, which looks very pretty. Sounds fun. I didn't read it. I don't want to read it. I thought I was gonna read it because it has Celtic mythology and it's about legends and queens. Yeah, I don't want to read it anymore. It wasn't good, my opinion. Well, I can't say it wasn't good because I didn't read it. I read like 2 chapters and I was like, no, it's just not for me. We have Teardrop by Lauren Kate. Yeah. By the same person did the Falling series, if that makes any sense. The Fallen was like also iffy. It's a thing of its time, let me tell you that. I thought it would be more about mermaids. It's not. It's about like crying tears and causing, not hurricanes, not tornadoes, tsunamis type things. Except she doesn't know how to use her powers and she's really boring as a main character. I'm like, this Mary Sue type child needs to figure her life out. Palace of Spies. It's pretty, it's fun, we love. It's just not it for me. I want espionage and I want fun espionage, and it was boring espionage. She's like, I'm an old lady now. And I'm like, no, you're not. I don't know if that made any sense, but to me it made sense. This one is so pretty. Like Catherine E. Woodowis, Forever in Your Embrace. And look at the step back. Gorgeous. But it's so fat. It's such a thick book. And I have no interest in reading this. There's too many words, guys. Me and historical, there has to be a certain type of historical. Otherwise, I just won't read it. And I'm not gonna read this. It's not gonna happen. So, love you, babes. You're beautiful. You're just not for me. Another historical. This one is The Unexpected Duchess. I didn't love the way they talk to each other, I think. I don't know. I know I didn't love it. I started reading it. I swear I did. Oh, what the heck? I didn't see this earlier. Someone wrote in it. So, hope Jennifer liked it. Doesn't seem she did. I get most of my books secondhand anyway, so I'm just gonna say goodbye to that. Valerie Bowman book. We have The Sacrifice by Rin Chupeco. You know, it's about Hollywood and this place in the Philippines, and I'm Filipino and I love everything having to do with our mythology, but this was not it for me because it was just, it didn't matter that they were on the Filipino island. It didn't really make much sense to the story. It didn't make me feel good, you know. Reading this book was not great. It was not a fun adventure with some murder. It was like kind of depressing. Yeah. Also, I randomly just picked that book up because I saw it and I was like, oh my god, Hollywood? Yes. Oh my god, Filipino culture? Yes. No, honey, no. Okay, now we have an upside down book. Dreaming by Jill Barnett. I think it would have been better as a movie, to be honest. It was an okay book. It would have been better as a movie. I liked it. There were some parts that honestly made me laugh out loud. It was funny. This girl is obsessing over this man for no apparent reason other than that he's just cute. She goes out of her way in order to try and make this guy also fall in love with her, and he calls her a cute little hellion, which is fun. She causes so much drama out of nothing. She's the most accident prone human being ever. There was this pirate scene which was wonderful, but other than that, the male lead sucked a lot. He was not a good male lead or anything. He didn't care about the main character until like the end-ish, and near the end we were introduced to other characters that had no purpose to the story in my opinion, but they were from the first book. This is the second book, so I read the second book and not the first book, but supposedly the first book was better and I just didn't read it. So next we have Nora Roberts, Stars of Fortune. I read another Nora Roberts book, The Witness, and I didn't like that one as much as I thought I would. So I tried reading this one as well and it's just not hitting for me. Like, I love the idea that she can see the future and all that stuff, but, and like have dreams and that there's a queen's and like this random star that fell out of the sky. It's cool, but I don't think I'm a Nora Roberts girly. No offense, homegirl, but it's just not for me. Next, we have The Bride Wars Scarlet by Liz Carlisle. This is the second book in the series. It's boring. It was boring. It was boring to me. I couldn't get through it. I was bored. Next, we have Beyond Scandal and Desire by Lorraine Heath. There was a lot that happened in this book that I do not remember at all. I do not care for anybody in this book, and I was thoroughly bored. Next, we have The Rogue of Fifth Avenue, Joanna Shoup. I hear a lot of good things about that author. Well, sorry girl. I didn't like it. Yeah. It's about modern day Robin Hood, but like she wasn't much of a modern day Robin Hood or anything. She like didn't do what I expected. I'm like, why don't you steal stuff, be cool, do things, but no. And it wasn't like steal from the rich, give to the poor. It was kind of just like, you know, I don't even know how to explain it. I was bored. Next, we have Arsenic and Adobo, which my mom read this. I never did. It's by Mia P. Manazola? You know, I heard good things about this, but my mom didn't like it and I have no interest in reading it, so goodbye. Next, we have 2 left, guys. Okay. This one also by Jill Barnett. It's Bewitching, which is about a witchy who was seen in The Dreaming. This one is supposedly better than Dreaming, but I just have no interest in reading it because I do not care about these characters or the storyline or the world that we're living in for this book. So she's a witch and he's not. They fall in love and it's old-timey, which sounds so fun, but like, no. Next, and lastly, we have SIren by Patricia Rayburn, which I've read this whole book. I have to say I skimmed some of like the ending, but for sirens, they don't have tails. They're not like murderous-y as much as I hoped they would be. And it could have been so fun, except there's so much teen drama in it that is not needed. Like, my favorite book series ever is Wake, and it is amazing. It's the Water Song series, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. It's one of my favorite ever, just based off mythology alone. This one is not as good by any means, and it makes me very sad. It was just okay. And also it was like kind of weird because a lot of stuff happens off page and you don't know what's going on. You never know what's going on. And it's like, okay, someone's dead? Oh, it's your sister? Alright. And then her sister's ghost or something is talking to her, but that's never explained as to how or why she can communicate with her dead sister even though her sister's dead. And she only appears sometimes. There's more questions than answers, people. I'm very confused by it. But that's all. That's my unhaul. Those are all the books that I will be getting rid of because I don't want them anymore. Thanks for watching. Okay, bye!